only person who doesn't know that is you.
We've got more leverage than you might think.
Please tell me you have some good news.
How is he?
Like you give a damn.
If you want to do something for Michael, leave.
You talked about an exit strategy. That just became more important.
General Hospital latest update. Michael fights for his life in the hospital, but the drama doesn't stop there. Willow's loyalty is questioned as she faces custody battles with Michael's family, and Diane arrives with a court order to take the kids. Meanwhile, Drew and Carly clash over blame, while Joss confronts Willow over her affair. The tension is escalating. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. After watching these videos, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Michael wakes up. Diane shows up with court order to take the kids. General Hospital spoilers recap for Thursday, January 9th reveals the episode opened up with Willow Corinthos, Caitlin McMullen, back from Washington, giving a list of care instructions to Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watrose, for Wiley Corinthos, Fern Weaver, and Amelia Corinthos, Sequoia and Serenity Mork-Mako. Willow is headed to the hospital to check on Michael Corinthos, Chad Duell. However, Nina believes this would be a huge mistake. Martin Gray, Michael E. Knight, arrives at Nina's condo, and strongly encourages that Willow file for temporary custody of the kids. Considering Michael's condition, it would be a good idea, and it would help in Willow's effort for custody of the children, down the line. Willow makes it clear that her #1 priority is to check on Wiley and Amelia's dad, and she couldn't live with herself if they ever found out she was filing custody papers instead of checking in on their father. Willow heads to the hospital, and Nina worries over her daughter's decision. Still, Marty assures Nina that he has something in his back pocket. It turns out that Willow is Michael's medical proxy, and this is something they could use as leverage. Nina's half disgusted by the thought, but fans know that if push came to shove, she'd be all over using this to Willow's advantage. Over at the hospital, Drew Quartermaine, Cameron Matheson, has arrived to check in on his nephew, and Lucas Jones as Van Hansis makes it clear he cannot release any information to him. Curtis Ashford, Donnell Turner, walks by and advises that the best thing Drew could do at this point is leave. Drew insists that this is a family matter, and while he and Michael may have formed an alliance to take Aurora away from him, this could also be his last opportunity to make things right. Drew reminds Curtis that Michael is his family, but Curtis reminds him that uncles don't usually try and bed their nephews' wives. Curtis advises Drew to pray for Michael, and they go their separate ways. Anna Devane, Finola Hughes, and Harrison Chase, Josh Swickard, arrive near Michael's room at the hospital, while Carly Spencer, Laura Wright, and Jocelyn Jacks, Eden McCoy, look on and worry. Anna advises Carly that the PCPD are on the case, and Chase makes it clear that as he considers Michael to be part of his family, he'll stop at nothing to bring those behind this down. After they leave, Diane Miller, Carolyn Hennessy, arrives. She informs them that Michael had officially served Willow with divorce papers and a custody agreement, while she was in Washington, D.C., staying in Drew's hotel. Carly knew about this information, so she wasn't shocked. However, Joss was outraged and stormed off to let out some steam. It's at this point that Diane presents an idea to Carly, to file a motion with a judge about bringing the kids back into Michael's custody. It seems as if Diane had the same idea that Martin did. Carly was skeptical that a judge would take the kids away from Willow, their mother, plus considering the condition Michael was in. However, Diane felt confident that she could present a case showing how Willow was an unstable mother, especially in light of taking Wiley out of state to follow the man she was having an affair with. Diane just needed an okay from someone in Michael's camp. On the other side of the hospital, Alexis Davis, Nancy Lee Grahn, finds Christina Corinthos Davis, Kate Monsey, and her daughter is obviously struggling. After all, she's suffered extreme losses in a short period of time, and she can't lose Michael now. Alexis gives Christina a pep talk and reminds her that she's stronger than she thinks. Christina decides to go get some air and walks off. Over at the penthouse, or what's left of it, Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard, is ready for retaliation on this strike, but Jason Morgan, Steve Burton, is remorseful. Jason feels as if this is all his fault, he should have heard or seen something. Still, Sonny reminded him that this strike fell off everyone's radar. Sonny continues to talk about revenge, when Jason insists that this should be the trigger for their mob exit strategy. Jason states that he can't fathom something happening to Danny Morgan, Asher and Tonneson. Anna and Chase arrive on the scene, and Jason retells the entire awful scene of what happened to Michael, the explosion, him catching on fire, and Jason throwing a blanket on him to stop the flames. Anna wonders if Michael was the target, and Jason believes it was Sunny, and that Michael was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Chase shows Anna a text and says he has to leave, unless she wants to step in for this job. Anna believes it would be best if he handled it. Said a job wasn't revealed and Chase takes off, only for Jack Brennan, Charles Measure, to arrive. Despite their taser tiff from last week, Anna reached out to Brennan for help as the explosive device used may be something the WSB has come across. Brennan implies he's doing this for Carly's sake and says he can assist. Speaking of Carly, she's still by Michael's room when Lucas drops by. The medical team has to conduct a procedure to help Michael fight off infection, but it's not one she should stick around to view. She doesn't want Michael to be left alone, so Lucas promises to stay with his nephew, and Carly heads down to the chapel to pray. Drew arrives to provide his support and the two immediately get into it. Carly can't believe she fell for Drew's hero act and that she couldn't see how selfish he was, while Drew reminded her that he went to Pennonville for her and almost died in the process. After much ugly arguing, Drew states that Michael is in the burn unit and the only person to blame is Carly, and she knows it. Back to Jocelyn, she's walking through the hospital, only to come across Willow who immediately asks her how Michael is doing. She is met with a hostile response from Joss, who notes that while Michael was burning, she was sleeping with Drew. Willow retorts that out of everyone, she thought Jocelyn would understand her position. Jocelyn was shocked that Willow could compare her cheating on Cameron Weber, William Lipton, with Dex Heller, Evan Hofer, to her fling with Drew. She is married with kids, Jocelyn wasn't. Joss ripped through Willow, calling her every name in the book. Molly Lansing Davis, Kristen Baganos, arrives at the hospital to support her sister and mom, and wonders if she is making the right choice by being there. As Michael's cousin, she loves him, wanted to be there for him as well. They were so close when they were younger, and Alexis reminds Molly just how precious time is. Meanwhile, Christina had been gone for a hot minute at this point when Alexis began to worry. She wasn't responding to texts, so when Sunny arrived back at the hospital, the two split up to find her. Sunny scored the win when he located his daughter on the hospital rooftop. This is where Christina admits how worried she is to see Michael in his state, and Sunny assures her that it'll be fine, and she'll figure out a way to get past his injury. Jason arrives back at Michael's hospital room, only to see Lucas walk out of his room. The two talk about the procedure he just underwent, and Jason asks if he can see Michael, but not before a flashback scene of Jason, holding a newborn Michael promising to protect him at all costs, is shown. Jason enters Michael's room, with Christina looking on from the outside, as Molly comes by her sister's side and holds her. Michael wakes up to see Jason there. Curtis visits Nina to inform her that Drew is at the hospital and causing drama. She needs to do something to stop him. However, Nina makes it clear that taking care of her grandchildren is her #1 priority. Just then, there's a knock at the door, and Diane, Chase, and the Quartermaine nanny is on the other end. Diane has secured papers from a judge ordering the children back in Michael's custody. Curtis wonders if there's another way, while Nina outright refuses to do this. Chase reminds her the best thing that she can do for her grandchildren is to hand them over. General Hospital spoilers indicate things are going to get far uglier in this custody battle between Michael and Willow before they get better, so fans will have to tune in to see what happens next. Today's next update, Joss clashes with Willow, Drew points the finger at Carly, and Diane takes custody of Michael's children. Thursday, January 9th, 2025, today on General Hospital, Curtis has words with Drew, Molly and Alexis support Christina, and Martin tells Nina about an ace up his sleeve. At Nina's, Willow tells her mother that the kids are settled, and she doesn't want Wiley to watch TV or go on his tablet and find out what happened to his father. She wants to go to the hospital, but Nina says that would be a mistake. Willow says her marriage may be over, but she still loves Michael. Martin arrives, gives Willow his condolences, and says they must discuss their next steps. Martin says even if Michael is incapacitated, his legal team will continue with the divorce. Martin advises her to file for temporary full custody of her children, but Willow refuses to take his children away while Michael is fighting for his life. Martin says that's not what he's saying. He explains that Michael has not only filed for divorce but sole custody, so if she can get custody now, she'll be better positioned to negotiate custody with Michael later. Willow refuses to negotiate with lawyers while Michael could be dying. Willow storms out, and Nina asks Martin what they do now. Martin is prepared and says they have more leverage than Nina thinks. Martin reveals that Michael made Willow his medical proxy and never changed it. When things get ugly, they can use Willow's position as leverage. Martin says Willow needs to know about this power, but Nina thinks she would never use it unless she had no choice. At the hospital, Drew asks Lucas about Michael's prognosis. Lucas says he's in the burn unit. That's all he can tell him. Curtis arrives and tells Drew if he wants to do something for Michael, then leave. Drew knows Curtis is angry at him, but this is a family matter. Curtis tells him the word family means nothing coming from his mouth, and Michael is fighting for his life, and there is nothing he can do. Drew says this may be the last time he can see Michael and make things right, and he won't let Curtis stand in his way. Curtis tells Drew he just wants Michael to survive to ease his guilt. Drew states he loves Michael, he is family, and the two of them are done. Curtis says as his former friend, the only thing he can do to help Michael is to pray. Alexis arrives to support Christina. Christina cries that Michael is the person she turns to when things are going wrong, and she can't lose him, not after losing Sam. Alexis says Michael is a fighter, and asks what Michael would tell her to do right now. Christina says he'd probably hug her and make her think everything would be okay. Alexis says right now, Michael needs Christina to be here for him, so she has to hold it together. Christina says she'll try and decides to get so. Anna and Chase offer their condolences to Josh and Carly before leaving to investigate the fire. Chase lets them know that Michael is his family, too, and they'll do everything they can to find out who did this. Diane arrives and tells Carly and Josh how sorry she is about Michael. She looks in his room, and he is hooked up to ventilators. Diane says before they get to business, is there anything they need? Carly says no and asks what is going on. Diane reveals that Michael has filed for divorce, and Willow was served last night in a hotel in DC, where she was with Drew. Joss flips out and storms off, and Diane thought Carly would react that way. Carly reveals that she already knew where Willow was. Diane advises Carly that Willow and Michael have a legal right to the children, but they can neutralize Willow by seizing custody. Diane says she'll make the case that Willow has made an unstable home life and took Wiley across state lines to carry on an affair. Diane notes Michael can't tell them his wishes, so what does she want her to do? Sunny and Jason make their way through what's left of the penthouse. Sunny thanks God that Avery was as Carly's with Donna. Jason says this should never have happened, and it's on him. He missed this bomb being planted, but Sunny says they all missed it. They need to find out who tried to come after him and stop them dead in their tracks. Jason says that won't change what happened to Michael. He reminds Sunny he talked about an exit strategy, and they have to get out soon, as he can't risk this happening to Danny. Sunny returns to the hospital and runs into Alexis. Alexis gives him her condolences and says Christina went out for air, and she hasn't come back. He offers to help her look for Christina, so they split up. Lucas checks on Carly, and explains the team is coming to help them deal with Michael's burns, and it's probably best she steps away and not watch this. Lucas offers to stay with him so he's not alone, and she thanks him. Willow arrives, runs into Joss, and asks how Michael is. Joss snaps, like you give a damn. She tells Willow that Michael was getting burned in a fire while she was sleeping with Drew, and she took Wiley along why? To introduce him to his new daddy? Willow argues that she thought Joss, of all people, would give her some grace, knowing relationships are difficult. Joss admits she wronged Cam by cheating on him with Dex, but they weren't married, and they didn't have children. Willow says she and Michael are separated and Michael served her with divorce papers. Joss slams her for thinking she's better than everyone else, calls her a lying, worthless skank, and she screwed Michael over after he gave her everything. Molly arrives to support Christina and runs into her mother. Meanwhile, Sunny finds Christina on the roof. They embrace and discuss how Michael will back it through this. Back in the hospital, Alexis gets a notification from Sunny that he found Christina. Molly feels for Christina as she lost Sam and now could lose Michael. Alexis says it's a reminder that every moment is precious. Carly goes to the chapel and lights a candle for Michael. She knows she only turns to God when she needs something and begs him to spare her son. Suddenly, Drew walks in. He says he thought he'd find her here and wants her to know how sorry he is about what happened to Michael. Carly says she can't believe she missed how self-involved he is and that he doesn't give a damn about anyone but himself, let alone Michael, whose wife he slept with. Drew calls it complicated and reminds her that he cared enough about her to go to Pennonville for her. Back at the penthouse, Jason explains to Anna and Chase, who have arrived, that he was talking coffee business with Sunny in the corridor when the explosion happened. When they headed in, Michael was on fire. He tells them he was able to smother the flames with a rug, and he carried him out. Jason and Anna agree Sunny was the target, and Michael was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Jason heads out to go see Michael. Chase tells Anna that the explosive device left very little evidence behind. Chase then gets a message and is needed back at the station. He shows the message to Anna, and she says, "Better you than me." Brennan arrives at the penthouse and asks Anna how he can help. She brings him up to speed on what they know, and could use the WSB's help. She assumes the device was something manufactured rather than acquired, something the WSB might know of. He admits the WSB have run into this before, and it will take time, but he will do some digging. More, soap stars' homes in danger from LA fires. Curtis heads to see Nina at her place. He says Drew showed up at the hospital. He tried to get him to leave, but he wouldn't listen. He asks Nina to go talk to him. Nina can't, as she must focus on Willow and the grandchildren. There is a knock at the door, and Diane is with Chase and another officer, and she announces they've come to remove Wiley and Amelia and take them home where they belong. Nina refuses to let the children be taken, but Diane says they have a court order signed by a judge. Nina says the children don't know what has happened, and Willow is at the hospital checking on Michael. She begs Diane not to do this to the kids. Back at the hospital, Jason arrives and learns from Lucas that the debridement team is taking care of Michael. Jason flashes back to when Michael was a baby, and he promised to keep him safe. Jason asks if he can sit with Michael after the team is done, and Lucas says he can. Willow and Joss continue to argue, and Joss points out that Michael gave her Wiley because he loved her. Willow says she loved Michael, and still does. She is grateful for everything Michael gave her, but Michael made mistakes in their marriage too. Joss says, "Yeah, I'm looking at one." She says Michael should have seen this coming, as Willow cheated on Chase with Michael, and then cheated on Michael with Drew. Joss wonders who she'll leave Drew for, which she will, because when you marry a cheating wife, you get a cheating wife. In the chapel, Carly tells Drew that he took the rap for her because he thought he would get a slap on the wrist, and instead, he got to be a martyr. He says he did it because he loved her, but she says he never did. She accuses him of only caring about himself and being a hero. Drew says she can attack him all she wants, but Michael is in that burn unit because of her, and she knows it. Alexis heads to the roof, and Sunny says Christina went back inside. He lets her know Christina is a lot stronger than they think she is. Alexis asks how he is. He wishes this never happened, but he knows Michael will pull through. Jason goes in to sit with Michael, and Christina looks in from outside the room. Molly joins her sister but says nothing. Back in his room, Michael moans and opens his eyes. Jason tells him that he's here for him. On the next General Hospital, Lucy and Jens enjoy a meal at Bobby's. He asks, "What else do you need to know about me?" Ava asks Rick if he can use this to his advantage. Martin asks, "What does that have to do with me?" Nina finds Joss and Willow fighting and says, "Leave my daughter alone." Carly tells Drew that she sees him for who he really is. Portia tells Jason this is the best thing for Michael right now. Sasha asks, "What happened to Michael?" Thanks for watching this videos. Please hit the subscribe button for more updated news.